An age ago, the beating heart of our people was a king who knew only victory. He wanted nothing more than an honorable death on the battlefield. Yet, none could match him, and so he wandered the earth, becoming lost in time and tide. Then we too lost our honest purpose, while silk-clad men sat upon the throne. But tremble now, all cities that lay under the stars, for out of the shadows and mists of the land of promise, our courage has been rekindled, our heart has returned, and the world will burn.
Hey, how's everybody doing? This is John, and welcome to Comic Book Team Up. I'm here with RJ. How you doing, RJ?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, I finally realized I always forget to show your trailer, so there you go. It's a new year. It's a new me. How's that?
No problem. Hopefully I'll have a new trailer soon.
Oh, cool. So RJ and I, for those of you who don't know, we alternate back and forth on different channels. We just do a comic book team up to talk about comics. We usually have a third person, but I thought this is the first time of the new year, and I thought it would be just a fun talk about what do we have planned for the new year. So I guess I'll start. RJ, so what do you have planned for 2025?
What I have planned for 20. Well, actually, I was just looking. There's a couple of posts on my Twitter if you want to pull that up to show people what I'm working on. I'm working on Fade to Blue, which is a basically film noir set in the 1930s with a little bit of supernatural thrown into it, which is going to be published digitally. And I'm also working on Artemis, which is a manga style book. And I posted a couple of things on Twitter, couple of panels in that. We're about 10 panels in, but that book's going to be probably at least 100 pages. So we're about 10 pages in right now. I just gave the script for the first 30 pages to the artist. He's in Japan. We're about a little more than halfway done of Thomas Valley #2 with Renzo Rodriguez, of course. And the backup story is by Don Chin, and we're going to get Mike Kustovich to do the pencils for that. So yeah, there's Artemis right there. That's a couple of the panels from the manga style book there that we're working on. Again, my artist in Japan. There's Fade to Blue. If you want to click on the hashtag Fade to Blue, that's my stuff will come up, and it'll only show you stuff for Fade to Blue, and it'll give you a good look at some of the stuff. Poster for Crom the Destroyer, which we're still working on, guys. We're still working on it, slowly but surely. It's a long process of such beautiful art for Crom the Destroyer. Unfortunately, I budgeted way too little time for that. This is the cover for the the floppy for the Rampaging Thor for Valiant Heroes, of course, and of course Thomas Valiant #1 we got going there, which is still available on the Valiant Heroes website if you're looking for it. Or you can buy it with Crom the Destroyer as well. So yeah,
I didn't know you were putting out Daredevil 200.
Look at that. Yeah, I was just saying that's comic cover creation 101 right there. You need to look at that for simplicity and beauty.
Yeah, there's a reason why that comic came out 40 years ago, and we still talk about it.
Yep, definitely. And
did you see that list of some? I think I don't know what group posted this.
Yeah, scroll down.
It's scroll down. Okay.
Scroll down and you'll get it. was a D&D post talking about
I just get distracted by all this beautiful stuff that you
oh
post.
yeah. There's Artemis again if you're looking for it, and Fade to Blue again.
This is Artemis. Okay.
This is Artemis, yeah, and that's Fade to
Fade
Blue.
Oh, geez, that looks creepy.
And Crom the Destroyer, Kit Fox there, and then we got Thomas Valiant. And just scroll down just a little more, a couple more. I think it's 3 more. I don't know. You got to go down a little bit farther. But yeah,
this is Nick Axe's artwork, right?
Yep, that's for Crom the
I
Destroyer.
love this. I always stop when I see this. I love this character. I just wonder, how does she get through doorways? She must have to. Poor girl probably bangs her head over. And this, I always see this. This is a page from the Valiant Heroes. And
Thomas Valiant, number 1.
Yes. Did you tell Renzo the name of every character, or did he just go nuts and make up characters?
I did not give him the name of every character. I gave him the back, basically the sketch for every character, as in I gave him 1 or 2 looks, as in throw these together. So.
Oh, okay. So you have a name for every one of these characters?
And they somewhere, not in my head.
Okay. All right. I love these old Captain America. Look at this Lord of the Rings, instantly recognizable as Rivendell. Oh, here we go.
There you go.
Here we go. I'm gonna click on this. So I can't really say anything good or bad. Well, I'm gonna make it big. Yeah, I read The Watchmen. I read Superman for All Seasons, and I think that's all I read in this House.
I read Watchmen. I read some of, not every last one, obviously, of the X-Men Krakoa when it first came out. I read Superman Smashes the Klan. I've flipped through Historia and scanned through that, but the rest of them, not too much. The Superman of All Seasons, of course.
Well, Kurt Busiek and Stuart Emolian for Superman Secret. I bet you that's good. That's something I should check out. I'm a big fan of Kurt Busiek, even though he's a lunatic. But Superman for All Seasons is one of the comics that I actually bought and gave out to non-comic book fans when they asked me, why do you like Superman? I thought it was just like a nice, accessible Superman story.
Right.
And I love Watchmen. I know. Like, it's been getting a lot of hate lately. Chuck Dixon was going off on it today on Ask Chuck Dixon. I still love the watch, but
Chuck and I are on the same page there.
So I'm not going to say that this is a bad list, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the 10 I didn't read, so it would be ignorant for me to say. But I'm saying, if this is some of the best comic books what
of all time, no. I'm saying I put a tweet up saying no. This is what's wrong with comics right here.
Right.
First of all, it's the fact that you don't have anything older than 20 years on this list, really.
Right.
Watchmen, I guess, yes, but there's no sense of history, no sense of what made comics great to begin with. Nothing at all. It's all. Somebody asked me, what is the common theme for all of the books on here, and I said most probably it's either A, cultural, or B, political impact. That's it. Yeah, Superman from All Seasons had cultural impact, but things and so did Watchmen. But Krakoa and Superman Smashes the Klan and Historia, those are all political. So it's not whether it was a good story, it's not whether it's a lasting story, it's whether it had an impact on our society. And I'm thinking that's not how you grade comics.
Right. I mean, where's the Dark Phoenix? Where's the Great Darkness?
Yep.
I mean, hell, where's Milton Caniff? Where's the Spirit? If we're talking about greatest comics. Now, if again, I'll give them the benefit of that. Did they say like these are some recent comics that just came out?
They said they scroll up and it has their what does it say?
Of all time by the League of Comic Geeks community. Okay, well, I don't know who the League of Comic Geeks community. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt that they really like comics, but they gotta get back and if you're gonna make yourself known as the League of Comics Geeks, you got to know Milton Caniff, you got to know Mac Raboy, you got to know the pulps that inspired all this stuff.
Yeah People are saying where's the Will Eisner, where's the Jack Kirby, where's the Stan Lee?
Right. Yeah, holy mackerel, you're right. I didn't even think of that. There's no Jack Kirby, there's no Stan Lee, there's no Will Eisner. So I don't know. To me, that's not the greatest, but what do I know? What do I know? Hey, Matt Bear, what's in store for 2025? So right now we're going to lay out Project 2025, RJ and I, where this is Agenda 2025, Project 2025, whatever you want, whatever politically charged word. And I guess might as well remind everybody, Fund My Comics. You could still get Heroic Tales #1. And you could still.
Which I have to say, good story, everybody.
Oh, that's right.
I read it on the weekend. Great
the,
story.
The Canadian Post finally got their act together. And, well, in their defense, they had to hike up a mountain, cross a river, evade the bear traps, just to get to that RJ lives basically, an outhouse has a little crescent moon for light. That's where RJ lives.
Here's how ridiculous it is, John. I want to tell you right now, okay? I live on an island, and in order for me to send a piece of mail to my neighbor, I have to put it in my mailbox. The mailman has to come and get it, take it to the post office, ship it to another province off the island, sort it, bring it back to the island, and then put it in my neighbor's mailbox. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Well, just RJ, you can knock on your neighbor's door and talk to them. You're allowed to do that.
No.
But your neighbor's probably ornery Bigfoot guy too, and you just growl at each other. I love my neighbor. Okay, that's all I wanted. When I lived in New Mexico, I lived for a little while on the Rio Grande River, and I would just wave to my neighbor across the river, and he would wave to me, and I was like, that's my favorite neighbor. Like, if we don't wave to each other every third date, we'll call the police, see if he had a heart attack, I had a heart attack. But that was it. I don't know his name, he don't know my name, and he's my favorite neighbor of all time. Now I got a neighbor across the street from me. We ignored each other for a year and a half. I put a big American flag in front of my house, and he stood outside and saluted. And now we talk. But he was perfectly willing to ignore me. Zach-Tan has given us the drive-by blessing. How you doing, Zach-Tan? And Logic Finest. I get nervous when Logic Finest comments because he cuts me to the quick sometimes. Gen Z social ideology activists are posing as writers. The first purpose of both writing and art is to entertain. Absolutely. Okay. I got off easy this time.
All right. If you want to see political ideology, bring up my Twitter one more time. And
sure.
Just bring something up. I'll show it to you. I don't know if it'll start where you were. No, go scroll up a little bit to
Scroll
almost
up.
today.
Oh.
Up. No, I guess from back to my feed, and go up to where you see the text. Keep on going. You'll get to today where I posted something with text on it, which is I think D&D rules, new D&D right there.
Yeah.
Read that.
Read that. I don't want to read this. Don't make me. I'll just read the highlighted part. So Harmony Ginger, I actually follow her. She talks a lot about Dungeons & Dragons, and I would not know what's going on with D&D. I just got nervous that this wasn't showing. If not for her, but in I don't know if people can see this, but in the yellow highlight, they're talking about don't just say goblins are attacking. The characters need help. That's not fun. Say goblins. Men's right activists are attacking the village. So goblin men's right activists are attacking, not goblins. Not, I don't know about you RJ, you said you never really played D&D, but in my fantasy game, like I take all the classic monsters and I put a little spin on it just because I like to, make it a little different than expectations. But to me, goblins, like the fey creatures are an insect race, and like these praying mantis people are like the noble fairies that rule, like Titana and Oberon. Goblins are locusts. They just run screaming and eat everything and poop everywhere in my game. You don't argue with them.
Nope.
It's like literally arguing with locusts.
Yep. Agree completely. That's why I posted this, and I said it's the same reason why I don't watch the Planet of the Apes movies anymore. It's because you're going to have the apes as the noble creatures, and the human beings are the evil things. And I'm thinking, no, I'm rooting for the human beings. I'm sorry, the human beings are human beings. The apes are basically goblins. I don't care. They're evil.
Did you see the new rules for romancing monsters that they're putting out?
I saw it, but I did not read the entire page, and I don't know if I want to read the entire page.
I don't know. Again, you got to come over. We got to play. I'm playing next Saturday. Me and my friends are going to come over. We're going to play some role playing game. But you got to come over and play. But I've been role playing for. I'm 56 years old. I started when I was. I'm gonna say, just to make the math easy, 10. So for 46 years, and never once did romance come up. Maybe we're dull, but like a couple of characters got married. Like there was the good looking farm girl or whatever, and we just said, okay, I want to marry her. But it all happened behind the scenes.
You never got that stupid rule book for eroticism on D&D. You never got that rule book, did you?
No,
I never had any reason to pull that into your game. That came out in the 90s.
Like my friend
thing.
Jimmy's character, he played a character called Thorn, and he just like left and looked for a farm to hide out in. So I made it up on the spot, and then he just was like, okay, I want to marry the farm girl and blah 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 blah. So we're like, okay, so now that character, that group of players, because I refused to get the vaccine, they stopped coming over my house. So we did a time jump. It's now 10 years later, and he's playing Rose, Thorn's daughter, trying to find out what happened to Thorn. But like, we didn't romance or like we just played and continued the next generation of story. And it's funny because now Jimmy's daughter is going to play, and she's going to play another character, and Jimmy's nervous because he's playing Rose, a 12-year-old girl in the medieval world who's already betrothed to like an evil wizard, and he's trying to get out of it. But that's the way the world works. I mean, D&D is supposed to be the medieval, European world with fantasy elements, or at least
I'll tell you right now. Do you remember one of the opening scenes in ET where they're playing D&D at the kitchen table? Okay, that was our house when D&D was being played. There was a bunch of kids just sitting around going, "Nah, let's do it this way. Where's the pizza?" Splashing things all over the place.
We had Funyuns, we had pizza, we had M&Ms. Yelling and screaming. And then we're like, you sure you want to do that? You sure? Rolling the dice, pointing at him and laughing because he critically fumbled.
I could just remember them having arguments about it, whether or not they could take Knoll slaves when they defeated them. It was like, come on, guys, let's go. Let's get this moving here.
I always played a different version, like a VB, and I had a player that was just making plans, just like, dude, we're adults now. We got to go to work in the morning. We can't spend 4 hours just making plans. So my friend's Mike character, you could take on a weakness and get bonus points. So like you could take like a weakness of like impulsive, and that would give you 4 extra points to add to your strength and stuff like that. So he was impulsive. So anytime and Mike, the player, was impulsive. So anytime I saw him fidgeting, I would make a roll. So it was one of the funniest things. They were making plans, and he critically failed a roll. I just ran screaming into the lair of the monsters and started fighting everybody. It was just glorious. And Mike's like, I never loved a weakness more than I love that weakness. Because it's fun to make a plan, but geez, 4 hours. The same player, I'll never forget. They finished their first story, and it was their first time playing with these new guys. And he goes, "Let's write a mission statement." And he started writing down like what the group's mission statement was. I was just like, who cares? Like right now we should be dividing up the treasure. I don't care about a mission. Write whatever you want. I don't care. I just want this sword. We didn't last long. Zach did. Maybe for a fee, they should just be a North American Postal Service. Well, I just sent something to Calgary, but I sent it UPS. So RRNTZ for 5 New Zealander dollars. Happy New Year, John, and everyone. Can't join you today. Suggested for Clubber Time. Rogue versus the Parasite. That's a pretty good one. And I'm not reading the Chuck. I don't care how much you pay. I'm not reading any Chuck Norris nonsense. It's cringe. It's 2025. The Chuck Norris stuff is cringe. Where is Batman, Superman, Original Flash, Human Torch, Green Lantern, Captain Marvel, John Carter, Captain Nemo, Van Helsing? Where's the foundation of? Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought you were yelling at me, but you're talking about that list that we just read. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. There was there even a Batman story on it? Like
no, there wasn't.
I'm about to drive home from work, so I can't chat. Okay. Yeah, you live in New Zealand. I'd love to be in New Zealand right now. I took a picture of myself at work today, freezing. I'm on a lift, so the lift is 60 feet in the air at the airport, just wind going through. I was so cold.
Yeah, you guys are getting hit by a snowstorm in the next couple of days, probably like 3-4 days.
Oh, God. Yesterday, my train didn't come. It just didn't show up. And then another train came, and I had to go to the middle of the platform and cross. By the time I got there, that train left. And then the next train was 18 minutes. And I'm just standing there freezing. I just got my car and went home. I was just like, it's too cold. It's just too cold. Sorry, Pete. Pete, my foreman, listens. Sorry. I just messaged him. I'm not coming in. I'm not coming in. Salute. We'll get back to talking as soon as I catch up. A lot of comments. When Chuck there, stop with the Chuck. All Chuck Norris stuff. Thought you had to be a bard to romance the monsters with the natural. Yeah, I hate bards. I hate bards. I will. You want to be a bard in my game? Fine. Monsters are coming after you. They're shooting arrows and breathing fire, and you're sitting there playing banjo. Who do you think is not going to live? I think it's misconceptions are gnolls or hyena people. They're literally demons. Yes, they worship the demon lord Yenagol. They're abominations. They're monsters.
Exactly.
It's okay to have fantasy monsters, guys. I do like gnolls, and I use them a lot because they were like monsters that weren't really shown a lot. Now I don't, because I like the idea that they were laughing as they were fighting like hyenas. You know, it just made it creepy, but now I can't use him anymore. Because
somebody was saying to me in my comments about the Twitter that I posted that stuff, and I was saying, these are monsters, right? And
right.
they went on and said, well, what about this and what about that? Yeah, I should have brought up that argument you just made, because they're listed as monsters. It comes from the old Latin, which means a demonstration, basically an example of something. They're an example of evil. That's what they are, right?
Right. Right, and and hyenas are like carrion creatures that just eat the dead and stuff like that. Like, what civilization would they build? Let's be real. When Canada becomes the 51st state, the mail will be better. Yes.
Yeah, I agree. It would be.
Eric De Guapo says hello. Let me just catch up with these comments, RJ. Then I want to ask you. You said you got my comic. Yes, it's just negotiating. People need to stop freaking Canada state. I don't. RJ, no offense, I don't want Canada to become a state. It just means 2 more liberal senators.
I'll tell you right now. You know what he's doing? He's making people freak out about their sovereignty so they can start actually enforcing their own borders again. They haven't enforced their own borders in Europe or any place. Canada, doesn't matter. Nobody's been enforcing their own freaking borders. I just love the fact that
this guy's not even president yet, and he bullied Justin Trudeau out of office. Amazing. Canada needs to stay away. We do not need it. I see Chuck Norris in this first, so I'm skipping this. All right, so RJ, your Canadian postal system, I guess the sled dogs finally got fed, and they made it up to your Fortress of Solitude, and you got my comic.
Yes, I did.
Any comments?
Well, actually, I really like the backup story.
Speaking of Canada,
because it was intriguing me. What?
Yeah, Canada. Here's some Tim Hortons.
But the suit story at the back, that was a really good backup story. I love that. And it backed up the world that you were building there. And I have to say, I was saying to John earlier before we began, it's very much a comic guy's comic. If you guys are comic book geeks, then this is the comic for you, because it's a comic guy's comic.
I got mostly positive reviews. I got one negative review, and the person who gave me a negative review is a self-admitted newbie to comics, and she had expectations that she created and I didn't live up to. So after the review, we talked about it, and she's kind of like, I don't want to say regretting what she said, but she's like, I'll back issue number 2. One of the things I did is, like, all my newbie, non-comic book friends, the guys that I work with, a lot of them just wanted to support me. They think it's kooky and fun that one of the construction guys is making a comic book. So I always ask them, like, I just want to ask you a question when you read it. A lot of the guys are never going to read it. They just bought it just to be nice. But a couple of guys read it. I always ask them, did it make sense? Were you able to follow it? Were you confused? Like the story. I'm very, very critical about storytelling in comic books. And I also understand it's hard to rate your own stuff. So I had my wife read it, and so far nobody said that they were confused or the storytelling was disjointed, so
it's a good, I thought of it this way now, because I do harp on a lot of 70s DC as being bad, but to me, it was a good 1970s DC comic. That's what it read like.
I was going for 80s Marvel, but I'll take 70s DC. Yeah, it's, that's why I've been saying it's like a Bronze Age love letter. Like I was kind of hoping that, like, Legion of Superheroes and X-Men and New Teen Titans would be on the shelf right next to Heroic Tales, you know? And people tend to forget that comics were pretty edgy back then. You know, in the 80s, we had punk rock, you know, movies like Gremlins were coming out, scaring the crap out of people. You know, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, and not so much Return of the Jedi, but the first two Star Wars movies scared the crap out of kids.
I was trying to over Christmas, I was trying to explain to younger members of my family what Gremlins was and how it was a Christmas movie, and they're like, "That's horrible."
You know, so like, you know, you remember you had Gail Simone complaining about women in refrigerators and stuff like that. Like, you know, comics were edgy, and I guess if you get into comic books now, I could see that suit story being a little bit shocking, but you know, you forget when you read some Mike Baron and early Chuck Dixon Punisher stories. You know, you would open up a box and there'd be trafficked people and, you know, all sorts of horrific crimes.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I'd like to remind people that if you reread the Dark Phoenix story, the Hellfire Club was a sex trafficking organization that roofied Jean Grey, and they were doing horrible things to Jean Grey, and then Jean Grey was sexually mutilating other people. If you read it, you know, it was, you know, that was Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, however you pronounce her name, you know what I mean, as the Hellfire Club's king and
Yeah,
queen.
see, the problem right there is you got yourself an Englishman and a Canadian doing that book. There's your degeneracy coming right out there.
Well, I got no problems with the degeneracy coming from the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're, you know,
I know.
I find that noble bad guy is, you know, it's fun to a point, but like, I got no problems with like a real disgusting bad guy, because that's what bad guys are. They're real disgusting. You know, for every noble Doctor Doom, you should have like a real creepy purple man. You know what I mean? Like,
one character that's named Shaw is a villain in Marvel Comics.
Right. And that's why I got so like gutturally upset when I saw that Marvel was having Hellfire galas. That's, you know, that's the equivalent of like all the Hollywood actors and actresses going to Epstein Island and having a ball. You know, you don't have a Hellfire gala with Captain America wearing a cool suit. You know, the Hellfire Club was a bad group, and it was based on an episode of the Avengers, that old black and white TV show with Emma Peel. And it was explicit, like they even drew the actors to look like the actors from that episode, and they were bad sex trafficking people, you know. So to me, it's just ignorance of history, of comics, or they just don't care, you know. Hellfire Club, let's have them all go to the prom, because comic books today are written by people who couldn't get to the prom.
Yep, exactly what it is, John. I like they literally said that on Twitter. Basically, is that it's the prom for Marvel superheroes.
Yeah, I just didn't like. So I'm glad you got my comic. I'm glad you like the suit story. A couple of people just didn't get it, and I'm wondering like was it a problem with the writing or whatever? But like, it was a guy, because I asked you a few times, I'm sure you don't remember, but the suit Lucius Kane is a guy who failed a virtue test. He was given a specific moment that he could have been a hero, and he chose the easy path, and he spirals into villainy. And you'll see he's a major character in the Heroic Tales. I already talked about, he's the mayor of Science City, because that suit story was 1999. The Patriarch story set in 2024. So next time you see Lucius Kane, he's going to be, you know, grayer in the beard, a little heavier, older.
Quite honestly, I think you have a knack for writing origin stories, because that was a beautiful origin story. It was very subtle and simple, and it was like, yeah, that makes complete sense. I mean, you don't have to over explain anything, right?
Okay.
He needed a suit, he got a suit, and it was there, and he doesn't know why, and I'm sure we'll find out later why it was there. But yeah, that's all we need to know.
Well, it's, you know why it's there. You know, he pulls out that 6.6. You know what the inspiration for that is? That literally happened. I bought pants and I pulled out inspected by 666. I'm like, I don't know if I want to wear these pants. These pants are probably possessed by the devil. These are the devil's pants. You know, and that became a joke for a long time. And that was in Albuquerque, you know. So when my friend made up, like, I want to come, a guy who has like a suit, like he wears the suit. So I was like, okay, so then, the suit is inspected by six. So the suit is possessed by the devil. And that, in case you couldn't tell, that's his superpower.
Yes.
Whatever he needs is in his pocket. Now, the devil doesn't tell him what to do with it. He just puts it in his pocket. He doesn't create anything, too. So that photograph existed someplace. You know what I mean? So, like, that photograph is now missing from where it was. So that he pulls out of his pocket. And he could have went to the police. He has free will to choose what to do with whatever the devil puts in his pocket. And he chose blackmail. And
Again, it's a concept that has been used over and over again, but never in this way that I've seen. It's like the idea of the shaman in Alpha Flight, right?
Yes,
he had his pouch, right? He could just pull out whatever he needed from it. But you're using it in a completely different way.
Well, yeah. Well, the shaman could look for something specifically and pull it out. Well, Lucius, like I'm working on another story that I think is going to be really disturbing. I got to figure out a way to tone it down. Where a handicapped guy is pushing the mail and bumps into Lucius, and then Lucius spills his coffee all over his suit, and you're going to see his eyes get all enraged, and he's looking at this guy, and he's like, come here, you Lenny, and Lenny's retarded, oh, Mr. Kane, and Lucius goes to get a tissue out of his pocket, and he pulls out one of the letters fell into his pocket, and he realizes this was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? So he goes, it's okay, Lenny. Accidents happen. And he cleans up Lenny, and then, the thing in his pocket is another decision point. So that's what always happens. This things in his, it's kind of like the One Ring wants to escape and go to the. So
that would open up an entirely, like, I mean, if you keep this character going, that would open up an entirely new section of stories where he put something in his pocket and then took it back out, right?
It doesn't work that way. Like, he has no control of what Satan basically puts things in his pocket. Just makes him aware of it, and then how he reacts to it is he also has other power. If you get the trading card, Lucius Kane trading card that's on my website right now, you can see exactly what his powers are.
Oh yeah, I did get trading cards with your book too, as well, didn't I?
Yeah, you got the 4 free ones that are unlocked for the stretch goals. There's 3 more. There's one of the last of the 3 girl showgirls, Dr. Robug and Lucius Kane, or not in the set. What you got was the Patriarch, Boss Moxie, Dame, and Mal.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you go to Fund My Comic, you could $10 you can get the whole set, and then when I do issue number 2, we're gonna do it again. We got a bunch of cards for issue number 2 because there's a bunch of characters. Renzo's can't wait to get them finished up, and then I'll sell issue 1 cards as sets or individual cards. That's the way I did. There'll be stretch goals for the current issue, and then for the next issue, you could buy whatever you missed or whatever didn't get unlocked or whatever. So there we go. So I might as well talk about plans for 2025. So Heroic Tales number 2, it's going to be broken into 2 stories of Mary Sue and the Patriarch. The Mary Sue story is written and colored. I've just got to go over the once it's written and colored, I like to look at it all and reread my script to see, like, did Renzo change anything? Is it awkward or whatever? What would make it a better story? And then I send it to Bill to get lettered. So that's where we're at half the book. Renzo is drawing the cover to the Patriarch right now, and as soon as we get like 5 or 6 pages colored, we're gonna Kyle Prometheus is gonna make a trailer, and then we'll start the campaign for issue number 2, and then that's history. The next thing I'm doing is I'm also finishing up a script for a comic called Eddie is Doomed. Eddie is Doomed is because I'm an anal retentive person. It's set in 1986 in the same world as Heroic Tales, where Eddie runs a supermarket that's run by Mary Sue's father. So that's how they tied together. And Eddie is just a nice guy, just a little bit lazy. His father got him a job pushing carts at Sue-Mart when he was a teenager, and now he's a manager at Sue-Mart. He's not bad. He's just lazy. Whatever is the path of least resistance. And now his father's a retired cop, and his father wants to move to Florida. Now Eddie is doomed because he has to move out of his father's basement, you know, and he goes to the comic book store for commiseration, and he finds out that Crisis on Infinite Earths is happening. It's called The Doomed Earth, and Top Comics is ending its continuity and starting a whole new continuity. And Eddie, he's just his whole world, his comic book world is changing, his real world is changing, and just poor Eddie can't handle it. So it's Love and Rockets meets Crisis on Infinite Earths. Those are two projects that are definitely going to be coming out in 2020. Well, the campaigns will be coming out in 2025. And then I have an idea. RJ, what do you think about this idea? I was thinking about the Patriarch, and I was thinking like when he was a young superhero, he got taken advantage of. He endorsed products and stuff like that. Next thing you know, it's like, oh, that's slave labor in China. And he was a rookie, and he's like, oh, well. So he gave up endorsing other people's project, and he started his own business. Like he has a vineyard, Patriarch Wine Vineyards, you know, and he has people that he hires and works and stuff like that. And, you know, he just flies and lands and checks and signs. So I was thinking, what if I was to make like a 10-page story about the Patriarch checking on his vineyard, and he finds out that there's crop circles in the vineyard, and he's investigating why are there crop circles in his vineyard, and then it's a 10-page story, and then go to a local vineyard and get wine made, Patriarch wine, and sell a 10-page comic with a bottle of wine. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I really don't know about that.
So I was already talking to Luke Stone. He said, "Fund my comic. He'll be allowed to sell the wine." I already talked to New York Post Office won't ship alcohol, but UPS will. So I was thinking this would be like a limited run, real expensive vanity project is the only way to describe it. So I already checked it. It would be like 100 bottles minimum, and that's like $2,000. You know, making the comic is $2,000. So I would have to like set this at like $5,000 or it wouldn't happen. So I got to go and visit and talk to the vineyard to see if it's legal, because I already contacted a place in California that would do it, but I would just like to do a local New York place, you know.
Yeah, probably had to be pretty expensive. I was funny enough, this Christmas I was walking down like a Christmas fair, and this guy was selling it's basically wine. It's mead right on the street, bottles of mead, and we bought a bottle of mead, and then after I'm walking down the street with it, I went, hey, wait a second, you're not allowed to sell alcohol on the street.
Well, I don't know. Don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. Maybe they'll get rid of the ATF, you know. Elon Musk keeps saying he wants to reduce it to 99 agencies out of the 300. It's like, don't reduce it, because that just means the same amount of, you know, just get rid of them. Get rid of them. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't just give this agency the purview over this and this, you know, that's just like reshuffling a plate of food. It's still the same amount of food. Reduce the portions. So those are my three projects. RJ, what do you have? You said you have Fade to Blue.
Fade to Blue, which is going to be digital for now. I might publish it sometime in the future. Hard copy. Artemis, hopefully by the end of the year. But so Fade to Blue first, I think, and then Thomas Valiant #2, and then Artemis later on in the year. So those are the three we already have. So Fade to Blue is going to be in basically floppy format. So it's about, let's see. So there each story has 3 chapters. Each chapter is 8 pages. So it's going to be basically a floppy. So we have 2 issues done already. And we'll hopefully be starting on the 3rd one pretty soon. My artist is chomping at the bit. And like I said, for the Valiant Heroes, we're half done of the art. Renzo is. We still have to do the backup story and finish off the main story. And for Artemis, we're 10 pages into, which is going to be basically a 100-page manga.
Oh, cool. So you got your hands full this year too.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a fun year. I'd like to think I garnered goodwill with my audience. You know, I was 3 weeks late because I got the proof, and I just messed up the file of one page. I didn't have any dialogue and word balloons on it, and so when you requested a new proof, it just bumped it 3 weeks. I would have been.
Yep, it happens.
I was so upset. But whatever. I guess 3
Same
weeks.
thing happened with me, John. I had 3 pages out of the 80 for Valiant Heroes. 3 pages didn't have any dialogue. Like, why is there no dialogue here? And we had to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I got good pre-press guys. We worked it out. Luke Stone did my pre-press. He just fixed it out like right away. But I lost my place in the printing line. You know what I mean? I had to go to the end of the line. Zaktan is asking, how far is the Patriot gotten in Raid Shadow Legends? I don't know what that is. So I guess he didn't get too far. I don't know anything about it. 3 weeks late is nothing. 4.5 years is ridiculous. Yeah. 4.5 years isn't even ridiculous if you admit it's ridiculous. It's when you're pretending that you're making a great art. I mean, I just look at Steranko made Chandler in 2 months. If you read that, it's like a 200-page graphic novel, and he did it in 2 months, and it's legendary. It's stuff that comic book people just still look at.
I think Steranko is an example of, let's just say, idiot. No, not quite an idiot savant, but out of his mind genius. How's that?
Yeah, I hate this term, but it's the first thing. But he thinks outside the box. He's different. There's
even today when you listen to him on his podcast, he's out there.
Oh yeah. And you go see him at a comic book convention. He's there in his pompadour. He's like 4'11", and he's got this 6 foot pompadour. He's just like a character, He's like, if Stan Lee didn't live, I think everybody would be talking about Steranko. If there never was a Stan Lee, it would be like, oh, this guy, comic book guy, Steranko. He's another ultimate showman. There's just some people that are born ultimate showmen. What did he say? Zaktan, it's one more comment. Ads on YouTube. Kind of surprised you haven't heard of it. I don't play it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't play video games. I don't get video game ads because I guess I don't play video games, so I don't know. You could put the Patriarch in it. Cool. I do know that Adam Miller, for his Iron Age icons, I'm like, he's going to be in the second series. He's going to be in the second series. I bust his chops all the time. I shall quote Graham Nolan. It shouldn't take you 1 year to make a comic book. That's just ridiculous. Nobody bats an eye when he said it, but yeah, Graham Nolan is the gold standard as far as crowdfunding is concerned. Guy made a 100-page hardcover Two-Fisted Tales book on time. Oh, and I would like to point this out. I just got this in the mail today. Six Gun Gorilla, Brian Christou and Adrian Savar doing the art. This was awesome. This was absolutely awesome. I got this today, and I just opened it up. I was like, I want to see how it looks. And I just read the first couple of pages, and I sat and read it all in one sitting, something I never do. I'm a notoriously slow reader. So
that is thick.
Yeah. It's. I think this is 6 issues. Yeah, volume 1. This is a graphic novel, 6 issues. I think it originally came out as floppies, and then I just read Tin Soldier, the first issue, and I might as well. I read Band of Crows. Have you read this comic?
No.
Band of Crows. It's $5 and it's magazine sized. Like Savage sort of, and it came in a box. It was like $11 with the shipping, and I'm calling it right now. It's going to be the best crowdfunded comic of 2025. It was so good. It was a masterclass of storytelling, art, characterization. It was so good, so good. I also got Beckoned by I can't remember his first name. Thurvod, I think I'm pronouncing his name wrong. The art is supernaturally good. It is unbelievable how much detail this guy. That people have been joking around with artism. Like, that guy's got artism. If he doesn't, Will Thevenot, I think is his name. This guy, he puts so much detail into a panel. You swear that the panel is moving. It's such supernaturally good is the only way to describe it. Art. And it's fantasy. So, have you read anything new that you? for the year that you think is good?
Besides Heroic Tales, I haven't really got anything in the mail for a little while.
So by default, Heroic Tales is the best thing you read in 2020.
There you go. Yes,
There you
best book 2025.
In comics, balanced duality is a big thing. Maybe Kane has a nemesis out there who wears a suit inspected by 777, and God puts. Well, Lucius Kane is the mayor of Science City. Because if you know anything about me, you know I hate politicians. So in issue number 2, you're going to see the Patriarch working side by side with Lucius Kane, because sometimes the devil does good deeds to pursue his own influence on the earth. And, it's kind of like Superman and Lex Luthor. Patriarch knows Lucius Kane's a bad guy, but he can't just punch him in the face in front of everybody. You know what I mean? And that's part of Lucius Kane's charismatic charm, is that, that guy's like Bill Clinton. Yeah, he had a lot of girlfriends, but, that's just Bill. Things like that. And, there's also a bad scientist. There's going to be a bad general. There's going to be a bad, religious guy, because all the comic book tropes. Dwarfism. Yeah, art in the panel. It doesn't move, but it looks like it moves. Yeah. It's called Beckoned. I agree with Graham 100%. I'm reading Heroic Tales tomorrow. Yay! Or maybe tonight before bed. Go to review it too. Be ready, John. Oh God, I always get nervous. I'm not what's the word? Arrogant enough to think everybody's gonna like my comic book. So I somebody on Twitter just said, "Hey John, I'm gonna make a review for your comic," and I'm like, now I'm not gonna sleep for 4 days. What if it's bad? It sounds like we both have a full slate. I actually have another comic that I would like to do. If Eddie is Doomed is well received, Eddie is a comic book fan. He's that guy that knows everything about comics, and he loves Top Comics. And Top Comics is Silver Age DC, so it's kind of hokey. And Top Comics wants to be more like Premier Comics, which is Marvel Comics, more adult and serious, good comics. So Top Comics is changing, but I had Oscar Carrano. Like I said, okay, we're going to make Golden Age versions and we're going to make Silver Age versions, and they're going to meet each other, in the doomed Earth. And so Oscar went and designed Golden Age versions and Silver Age, and they're so good that I'm like, we got to do something. We got to do something with these characters, So if Eddie is Doomed, it does well. We're gonna. I want to do the origins of the top 10, because it's Top Comics, so they're going to be the 10 best superheroes for the top 10. And we got that. I want to do 8-page stories about each character, and I would like to get different artists to do different, a Golden Age take on one of the guys.
Well, I say, John, that was my plan with Crumb the Destroyer. But as I say, and I always tick knickknacks off a little bit when I say this, but when you have multiple artists, it's like wrangling cats.
Well, Eddie is Doomed is the real life world is going to be drawn by Tonic Mole, and then the comic book world is going to be drawn by Oscar. So just the base comic has two artists, So there you go. So why can't I? Why is this not loading? I just wanted to show this. This is the cover to Eddie is Doomed. So if you could see Eddie himself in the front, that's drawn by Tonic Mole. Then all of the background and colors is by Oscar. So there you go. That's the Doom Keeper. He's like the Anti-Monitor, and then we got all of these. Some of these characters I had full ideas because they were NPCs in my role-playing game. And then some of them I just made up a name because I was too short. And then Oscar just filled in all the details. He knows his comics. But I just
you got your robotic ape in there.
Guess what his name is?
Robo Ape?
Robot Ape. And the whole premise of that is we got Gardner Fox and whatever. So I'm gonna make up 2 comic book guys, and they're going to be like in the page. They're going to be like, yeah, legend has it they were sitting there. What sells? And Gardner Fox said robots, and the other guy said apes. Okay, robot gorilla, go. And then the artist had to make a story about robot gorilla. And if you could see diagonally lower to the right of robot gorilla, there's a cat woman in a nurse outfit. And they're gonna be like, what do girls like? We got to get more girls. What do girls like? They like nurses and cats. Cat nurse. There you go. And now, so cat nurse is gonna be wandering around in the comic. What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Like
I like the redhead in yellow.
Which one?
The redhead in yellow. She's over by the guy with the suit, next to the hammer.
That's Bikini Girl.
Yeah.
Do you know why? You know why she's called Bikini Girl?
She's wearing a bikini.
She wears a bikini, but she was working for the USO, and they accidentally went to no bikini atoll during the bomb testing, and she got doused with nuclear atomic bomb radiation. So now she could release nuclear powers, and she wears and the Golden Age version has
very good Golden Age origin story.
Yeah, the Golden Age version has red hair and is very buxom, and the Silver Age version is red hair and she's more like slender, like Twiggy, and that's one of the things that like Eddie talks about. I don't know why it's confusing. Everybody knows that the redheaded bikini girl's from the Golden Age, and she's very buxom like a 40 starlet, and then he knows all the details about all these characters. The Superman character is Phenomenal Man with the big P, and then
Doctor Strange there.
Yeah, that's the mystery. Mm-hmm. So he's a Doctor Strange character. Thunder Woman and Thunder Girl, Captain Arachnid, and then all the way in the bottom there is the Tombstone Kid. He's an undead sheriff of Deadwood. He never talks, but he's like a zombie sheriff.
I was just thinking, quite honestly, if you're somebody who isn't quite as good as you should be doing pencils, if you're a beginning artist, create a zombie story, because you just draw, funky things anyways, right? Why not just do a zombie story? Get your anatomy down that way.
That might be a good advice for a rookie artist, but I think horror is hard for a rookie writer.
Well, it doesn't have to be horror; it just has to be zombies.
Oh, that's true. Confidence isn't arrogance. The two get mistaken because confidence offends others. Yeah. I think arrogance is confidence without talent, and confidence is arrogance with talent. How's that logic? Does that make sense? So I'm excited. This is going to be an exciting year, although a lot is riding on issue 2 of Heroic Tales, because, I know this is really none of my business, but like, I see a lot of people, like, they get the money for their comics and then they spend it, and they have, like, do you have a separate account for like money that comes in on your account in your comics?
I have a separate account.
Yeah. Me too. Well, what I do is, you buy stuff on My Comic, it goes to Stripe. I leave it in Stripe. I have to manually take the money out. So right now I still have money in Stripe. And I got to tell you, RJ, I got into that car accident and I was out of work for 4 months.
Right.
And I'm worried about the rent. Meanwhile, there's $6,000 sitting in an account, going, use me. Oh man, that was, I could turn into a green willpower, Green Lantern of the willpower that's up.
No, I have, because I have as a business, because mine's incorporated, and I also have its own separate bank account, which is the U.S. account that I'm dealing with. So I have a U.S. account and the Canadian stuff on this side of the border and that side of the border. So the whole thing is separated for me.
Yeah. Because I see a couple of people like, look, my campaign's a success. I'm buying an Xbox. It's like, dude, that's not your money until people get the comic. My campaign's over and I still have some money left over. I'm rolling that into next issue. You know, that's
Yeah, I kind of felt like a heel because for Crom the Destroyer, like literally, I'm going to be having to top up what Crom the Destroyer made in order to finish Crom the Destroyer. So it's coming out of my pocket. So I got no problem doing that. But somebody asked me and they said, I had a little bit of tough times. Can I have a refund? And I'm like, sorry, you can't, because I already spent that, like, 6 months ago. Everything's gone.
I'm very grateful. Nobody has asked me for a refund. I think because I sent it out really quick, so like everybody got it, before they could ask for a refund. But a few people, it got lost in the mail, and what am I gonna do? Okay, you got it. I just sent out another box 2 days ago, 2 comics, a pint glass, and a coin, and I think the Canadian Mail messed up his box, so I said if the original box shows up, just give it away to a friend. Maybe I'll get a
Yeah,
customer.
I had the same thing happen a couple of times. And if you don't mind, John, I just want to do a little PSA for anybody who is still waiting for their copy of the Valiant Heroes, because I think we have 7 people who somehow Indiegogo took their order without taking their address. And I tried to
Wow.
contact them, and I sent out emails to everybody. And if you still haven't gotten your copy of the Valiant Heroes, then contact me. You look through your email, see if it's in the spam or something like that. Anybody, if you're listening to John's and you're somebody who bought from me, I'm trying to get a hold of those 7 people, and I'm going to hold it out for the next month or so. But if they don't get it within the next month and I can't get a hold of them, there's not going to be anything left. So
Yeah, I gotta say there was I still have 3 people on Kickstarter who didn't fill out the survey. I went on Fund My Comic. As soon as you buy, I Fund My Comic. As soon as you buy, I get a notification. I get your address. You know what I mean? But Indiegogo, same thing. But Kickstarter, the campaign has to close down. You have to fill out a survey, and then I get your information. So I understand it kind of protects the customer, which I totally understand. But if you're like me, you get a survey, I'll fill it out later. You forget about it, or it goes to spam.
yeah.
And then you're like, it's been like, Restoration Games is finally sending me something that I ordered 4 years ago, because like, I don't remember filling out a backer kit form. Just make it as easy as possible. This is what I want. I paid for it. Boom, the money comes out, and then 6 months to a year later, send me my stuff. I hate all these forms and surveys. So I don't know if I'm going to use Kickstarter again, because I had to remind people, fill out the survey, do that,
Yeah,
Although-
there is something not as bad, but on Indiegogo, I had to explain to somebody. They're like, "Where's my book? You have the books ready. Why isn't my book coming out? I just ordered it." And it's like, because I got to wait for Indiegogo to release your money. Until they release your money, I can't send the book, because I could send the book and then you could request a refund and then you get the book for free, right? So I can't do it until they release the money.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, didn't even think of that. There's plenty of extremely talented, arrogant people. Yeah. And it's funny. The more talented you are, the more I like Alan Moore. I know he's a bad guy these days, but I forgive his arrogance, because I know
Like,
you're not
John Byrne. I would say John Byrne is an extremely arrogant, really good artist.
perfect example. Yeah, when one does take others into account, that's arrogance. Sound engraver. Don't let arrogance bother me. I come from the liberal arts world, professionals like that. Like it's right. Yeah, like I could even, like, I still love Kurt Busiek, even though he blocked me on Twitter. I think I got caught in a block bot, and then on Blue Sky, I was like, I went to Blue Sky so I could find all of the comic book on. So I was talking to Kurt Busiek. He's, I'm not going to come on. I'm not into whatever. And then he was making fun of Trump wanting to buy Greenland, and I was just like, I can understand not liking Trump. I said, but what is the bad idea of peacefully buying Greenland? Boom, he blocked me. I didn't think that was a blockable. I'm sorry I said something that could have been misconstrued as positive against Trump. Sue me. But I still love his comics. So I find that to be arrogant. Talking about arrogance. I'm going through the comments. So RJ, when was the last time you went to a local comic book store and got new comics?
It's been a while. Like I said, there was only 2 comic book stores here on the island where I live, and one of them shut down about a year after. It was 2023, I think it shut down. So that was probably the last time, because I won't go to the other one. The other one's full of, unless I absolutely need comic bags or something in order to send my books, because usually I get them in the mail. But yeah, I don't go to it because the people in there drive me insane. And they got, flags of this and that and the other thing, and they would kick me out of the store if they knew who I was.
Oh, really? Yeah. There's a local comic book store by me, and it's just run by, like, I call them Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets. It's just 2 old guys. They don't get up.
Statler, Waldorf.
Yeah, they just like, oh, yeah. They just sit in the chair, and then there's just this old cat that just walks on top of all the comic, and they're like, hey, you got this? Yeah. There's a ladder over there. You could go up, because they're too old. But I go in there, and I'm just like, I went to get Rome Eternal, because Oscar Crano, who I'm working with, did the colors for that. And it turned out to be a really good comic. But that was the last time I went to the comic book store to actually get something. I'm just going to share this while we're talking. Here's some more character designs. So you can see here's Bikini Girl in the Golden Age, and then the Silver Age. And then he threw in this Mohawk version, kind of goofing on Storm. But I like the first version and the 4th versions. The 4th version is going to be the Silver Age version. This guy with the eyeball is Big Brother. He's got, and then over here on the bottom, I just love how Oscar picked up on it. I said we got a bad guy. His name is going to be Caesar, like Seaczar, and he just went, oh, like an underwater Rasputin, and instantly, like, Oscar, you got it. It's perfect. And then he's the last king of Tartaria. Have you ever been hearing of that conspiracy theory?
I don't think so.
The Tartarians are the hidden civilization that spanned North America, Europe, and Russia, and they had free energy, and they built all of these buildings, and there was a mud flood that took them by surprise, and then the other governments capitalized on it and buried them literally and figuratively, so that they could restart civilization, right, like during World War One. It's insane, it's crazy, and Caesar is the last king of Tartaria. And then there's the Alienator. He's a bad guy alien. I just love that guy. So these are some of the characters that you'll be seeing in Eddie is Doomed. Like, I wanted them to be like hokey DC characters, but at the same time, I fell in love with, after Oscar drew them, I just fell in love with them. They're so good. So they're the comic books that the Patriarch's kids read in Heroic Tales.
Okay.
So what's that?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. So like Wolf and Batsy, Thomas Valiant, Horace H. Hoover, and then
yes, I did notice the Horace H. Hoover billboard in the background of the Patriarchs flying by, I think, or somebody is flying by.
Yeah, like these are the cartoons and comic books in Heroic Tales. So there you go. RJ can't see a comic rack with all the flags in the way.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yep.
And they have next to their register, they have a booklet, which is, I don't know where they're getting it from, but it's like how to use the proper pronouns and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just leaving.
No, I don't even entertain that game. I you don't compel me to speak anyway. I get to describe you. That's my prerogative. I get to describe you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get to pick adjectives. It's funny because whenever anybody talks about pronouns, I go, yeah, and my adjectives are mighty and squamous. That's how you have to describe me. And
I like the fact I was watching an old movie. It wasn't old. It was like 70s, right? And Dom DeLuise was in it. And this guy, he was a mobster. He ran into Dom DeLuise and he kept on calling him skinny, right? Just because he didn't like him. It's like, right. Yeah, see, there you go. He calls him what he wants to call him. He calls him skinny because Dom DeLuise is anything but skinny.
Yep. Yeah. Like do I get to tell you how you get to describe me? That, you know, even when you're not around, RJ, you know what I mean? Like, even when I'm not around, this is the way you must describe me. This is the way you must refer. It's ridiculous. Why? Who agrees to that kind of stuff? And again, I never believed in the slippery slope, but the past 5 years have showed you that not only is it the slippery slope, but it's practically a cliff.
Yep. Agreed.
Dom DeLuise. I love Dom DeLuise. Looked like my dad.
I was watching where just to let you know, I was watching Hot Stuff because it's on YouTube.
Which one's Hot Stuff?
It's Dom DeLuise and what the heck is his name? The guy who plays the snowman from Smoking the Bandit. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Jerry Reed. They're cops in, I don't know, somewhere in.
You want to hear something funny? Is I have Pandora and I listen to it at work. I put my headphones on and I just work, but I've been getting tired of the same old music. So I put on a country station, and I'm not big into country music. I don't dislike it. I just don't know it. You know, as a New Yorker, we don't really listen to a lot of country music. And I've been listening to a lot of Jerry Reed lately. He is hilarious.
I love Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed.
Oh man, like a couple of songs came on. I'm like, I like that. And then I scroll back, you know, when I'm done at work. Oh, that was a Jerry Reed song. After about the third Jerry Reed song, I just went and just been listening to nothing but Jerry Reed for the past 2 days.
Somebody compiled a playlist of his songs on YouTube, and there's like 90 songs. He does covers and original songs and everything.
Yeah, I would. I don't know why, but like, I would love to see Jerry Reed and Oliver Reed in a movie. Just talk about like, that would just be like the most insane movie ever made if this movie exists. In my world, that exists. But it's funny because I keep talking about my comic book, but it is Comic Book Team Up. And feel free to talk about your comic too, RJ. But one of the things that they do is Marissa Kelly, Patriarch's wife, she homeschools her 7 kids. And one of the things that she's adamant about is they do an hour of music a day. So like at some point, they either listen to music, talk about music, or perform music. So there's and one of the issues when I could figure it out how to fit this in, I was going to have a page broken into 7 panels, and each kid playing their instrument, and then I would like to have like a QR code or whatever that you could scan it and actually hear the song, because they all pick, you know, and all like different types of music. It's just a sneaky way of having like a little playlist, you know. Some, like, one of the kids was really into jazz, one of the kids is into avant-garde weird music, you know what I mean? One kid's into punk, you know. I just think that's just a fun thing to do for one page in the comic. Logic Finest identifies as a toaster oven. Okay, my pronouns are quick and useful. Don't assume my gender, you hateful bigot. The birthing who dropped me off needs a safe space. Whenever I think of Dom DeLuise, I instantly think of Cannonball Run out to, oh yeah, These Bleeds is the best outtake in the history of the world.
Because you're small. SMall.
My favorite Dom DeLuise movie is The End. Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise. Burt Reynolds is trying to kill himself because he's going through a breakup, and he gets committed to an asylum, and Dom DeLuise is a paranoid schizophrenic. And so Burt Reynolds says to him, I want to kill myself, but apparently I can't do it. You need to kill me. And Dom DeLuise is like, I can't kill him. I'll kill you. You know. And then he realizes he wants to live, but Dom DeLuise is trying to kill him. It's hysterical. It's one of those lesser known 70s movies, but it's just so politically incorrect. It's so freaking funny. Oh, there we go. Somebody agrees. The End is a great movie. Yeah, I'll never forget the opening scene. He takes a whole bunch of pills. He's just reaching into the medicine cabinet, taking pills and pills and pills and pills, and then he can't swallow them all. So he goes to the refrigerator and there's milk, and he chugs the milk and then throws up because the milk is sour. He's like, I can't even kill myself. Such a good movie. The politically incorrect is the best view. RJ, I remember a couple of years ago I was watching History of the World with my nieces and nephews. And
Oh yeah.
they've never seen it. It was Easter at my sister's house, and we all just finished eating and we're laying around like it's like a Roman disgusting food coma. We're all just laying on floors, whatever. And History of the World comes on, and we're watching it, and they were like this. You know, like what the, you know, and I kept saying my favorite joke is coming, my favorite joke is coming, and they all, and then finally the scene with the French Revolution with Cloris Leachman, she goes, let's end this meeting on a high note. Oh! And I roared, everybody just started because the anticipation of the favorite joke. I love that stupid movie.
Dom DeLuise plays the Emperor in that.
Yep. Yeah, wash this faggot. Gregory Hines, yeah, that is a eunuch. It's such a good movie. And then they made a TV series, like a sequel to it, History of the World Part 2 TV series, and Mel Brooks is like 102 years old. You know he had nothing to do with it. I just, RJ, you're a good person to bounce it. Why? I mean, I think we all know the answer, but let's hear your smart answer on this. Why are they just taking everything beloved and redoing it and ruining it?
Why? Because it's easier to subvert than to create. Pretty simple, right?
I knew you looked for the answer, but I didn't think you were going to say it that succinctly and that perfectly. Yes.
It's all about power. Everything's about power. So the least amount of power they have to expend on something, the better. So that's it.
Right. I've been saying in the comic book world and everything, like I call it stolen gravitas. Why make a new Spider? It takes 70 years or 20 years or 50 years to make a character, you know, like Rich Rider Nova. He had 18 issues. It didn't really light the world on fire. He unceremoniously got canceled. They brought him back a few times. After about 25 years as a background character, he kind of has a little bit of gravitas to him. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I remember that character. They throw him in a group. You know, they put him in the New Warriors. The New Warriors was a hit. So now this character that was really nobody, and so I want to make up a character. So I'm just going to take Richard River and I'm going to make him a transgendered, blue-haired alphabet person. And now my character got to leap to the front of the line. I didn't have to build up for 25. I don't have patience for that, RJ. I want my character to be a hit now. So I'm going to take Spider-Man and make Miles Morales. And if you don't like it, I get to make fun of you. But my character now has the gravitas of Spider-Man unearned. You know, that's
it's stolen valor. There you go.
Yeah, stolen gravitas. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make a new Iron Man. You know, I'm not a genius like Stan Lee. I don't want to do the work. I'm just gonna make Riri real, and she's gonna become Iron Man. And you have to like her because she's Iron Man, because it's a mantle.
I seen a list of the new shows and movies coming out from Marvel in 2025, and it was like, nope, not even. I don't even care about half these things. Like, you're gonna race swap Wonder Man, and you got Ironheart coming out, and you got Miles Morales. And like, yeah, no, I don't even care anymore. Let alone going to watch it. I don't even care.
It's funny because they announced the Wonder Man movie, and I said, bet you $10 they're going to race swap the character. And then within 2 weeks, they announced the actor, black actor. And like right under the very first comment on someone on Twitter was like, now watch all these people come out of the blue pretending they cared about Wonder Man. It's like, shut the F up. You know, Wonder Man is one of my, like, Wonder Man, I have a thing. Like, I like the characters that nobody else liked because then they're mine. Like the Absorbing Man, for years, that was my character. None of my friends cared about the Absorbing Man. I got every appearance of the Absorbing Man. I loved the Absorbing Man. You know, same with Wonder Man. My friend Mike and I, we loved Wonder Man. And like, the whole him being an actor is, who cares? I like the fact that he was the most powerful being on the planet that thought he was dead, or maybe he was dead, you know, while he was transforming into this energy being. He laid inert in a coffin, aware of everything, and then when he finally came to, he's like, I don't want to. He was scared of death because that's what he thinks the afterlife is, you know. And he can't be killed, he can't be destroyed, he can't be defeated, but he hesitates. I thought he was such an interesting character, and I bet you $1,000,000. Like the race swapping is bad enough, but they're going to play up the fact that he's a Hollywood actor, and they're not going to bring any of this fear of death into this character. They're going to take
that's the whole point. I was thinking why they're going to race swap him is like they're going to completely change the character into something else that's focused on something else completely. Just exactly what you said, John. That's why I was like, the race swapping him, it's going to be a different character that has zero to do with what the actual character is, right? Because like you remember, you were saying, I remember when I bought Wonder Man #1. I don't know, it was late 80s, 89 or something like that when they came out with his own series. I was at a fair, like a town fair, and I just got bored and I went to the local 7-Eleven, bought Wonder Man #1, and then loved the character from that issue onwards. Went back and read old Wonder Man stuff and got to know the character, things like that. And it laid down the foundations of his character, all his little quirks and all the times he thought like you said, he was dead and all these kinds of things. They're not going to touch on any of that stuff. They're going to say because of his skin color, he's going to be downtrodden and all this other stuff. It's like, no.
Right. Gordon Goodbrother says, is he allowed to be tragic if he's black?
No, he's allowed to be oppressed.
Right. Like as much as I've got disillusioned with your boy Zach, back when he was on fire, he used to say that. He goes, only white characters have the luxury of being good, well-developed characters. It's like, okay, there's a black character now. Ooh, he has to be perfect. He has to be mild. He has to be a Gordon Goodbrother. Sorry to insult you, Gordon Goodbrother, but but I think Zach was the one who came up with that term, or if not, he heard it from somebody. And but he's absolutely right.
Yeah, that's one of the things I talked about last Saturday about the new characters aren't allowed to have pathos. They have no tragic backstory, right? They're not allowed. Literally, Miss Marvel was created without pathos. They literally said that in order for her not to be like an older superhero.
It's funny because I'm introducing a character called Mary Sue next issue, and she's a woman. She's Asian. She's an Asian woman, and this poor character, this poor girl, the things that's going to happen to her. I want to show the first page. So I think I'm spoiling, but come on, load up. My computer's so old, it's dying.
The villain's going to refer to her as Shorty because she's pretty short compared to the Patriarch.
Yeah, she's tiny. Yeah, she's a tiny Asian girl. It's funny. My niece already did some fan art of her. What? Like, why is this? I hate my computer, but this is gonna be the first image. Let me oh God.
Have you gotten to show? I think you did show the character sketches for Mary Sue before on your.
Yes, but this is going to be page 1, the first introduction of Mary Sue. So there you go. When you open up the book, that's first splash page. It's going to have that's the first thing you see of Mary Sue. So I'm kind of playing on the idea of a perfect character who just never catches. You think the spirit gets bad? I was already called a misogynist because the two female characters in my stories, Mary Sue and the Patriarch's wife, have scars.
Looks like she just went through a windshield.
Pretty close. So windshield kind of went through her. There's, she was the laboratory exploded. Boom, and the protective glass. That's how come she has the scar. So there you go. I'm always spoiling stuff. People tease me because I'm always spoiling stuff. Gordon Goodbrother says I use the name ironically because I ain't that nice. Nice is dull. Girls will break up with you if you're nice. I learned that the hard way. They want to make Superman gay, Batman black, Spider-Man trans. Yeah, I know they're pushing for Spider-Man and the Human Torch to be a couple now. And you know what? Go ahead. Do it. Those are the 3 most famous characters on Earth. They could change the holy mission accomplished. Yeah,
Yeah, I was going to do a video, and then I thought to myself, why bother? The video was the new Marvel video game that's coming out is just doing great, right? And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's why they're never going to actually make any good comics anymore, because they don't make money off the comics. They just use them for other things and make money off them for movies and video games and whatever else. So yeah, those characters are done.
Yeah, Marvel. Tom Brevoort was just like, this week. This was like 3 weeks ago. This week, I'm celebrating my 35th year at Marvel Comics, and I said, "Oh wow, what a coincidence that for 35 years Marvel Comics quality has been and sales have been declining." And then he's just like, "I'm sorry, you're not 10 years old anymore." I'm like, "Geez, when I was 10 years old, we had Len Wein and George Perez and John Byrne. You know, that's not an insult. You had actual good comics when I was 10. You know." Hey, Tony Grigo, how you doing? How's Albuquerque? How's everything? We've been talking for an hour and a half now. I got to go to bed. It's almost 10. Anything you want to talk about? I know I tend to monopolize these conversations.
Not at all, John. I think I talk more on your streams than any other stream that I'm on, except for mine. But hey, I unfortunately, if anybody's here, I'm not going to be doing my own stream tonight. I just got too much on my plate these days, so I'm going to be waiting till next week until we start to get up again. So just let everybody know.
So next week we'll be on the Fourth Age, RJ's channel for Comic Book Team Up. Do you have a guest in line, or do you want to?
I do not have a guest in line as of yet.
Okay, yeah, I got it. This is an open invite to anybody. I got to start booking people again. I kind of let it slide for the year end. I was trying to do fulfillment, and then December came along, and I just haven't been booking people. So, comic book fans, comic book creators, reach out. If I could fit you, I'll fit you. My new schedule is going to be Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. I'm going to do my conversations. Mondays and Tuesdays, I have real live people come to my house and we play board games. I think it's important to actually interact with people in the real world. and then Saturdays I usually do stuff with my wife, and then Sundays I do Sunday comics. So going forward, it's gonna be Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays, and Sundays. So four out of 7 days.
I really got to try that, John. Interact with people in the real world.
Yeah,
that's on my to-do list for 2025.
Small steps. How about this year you just deactivate the landmines?
I literally started going back to the movies 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. It was like first movie I've seen in about 5, Gladiator 2, which really wasn't very good, but I thought I'd maybe go see Craven in the next couple of weeks. And it's like, yeah, I'll start a little bit here and there, just, getting back into the world.
Yeah, I getting back to the movie theater is important, but pick good movies. I mean, we kind of knew Gladiator 2 was going to stick, and
it was the best thing there, unfortunately.
And I didn't know about this Nosferatu movie until it was like, is it out of the theaters already? Like, movies,
I think so. Yeah,
come on, guys, got to advertise. Let me know you're in the theater. Meet me halfway. I love the movies. You did not like Nosferatu. I like vampire movies. It looks a little wacky. But William Dafoe's in it. I'll practically see that guy just read the alphabet.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is basically a vampire anyway. So
yeah, I know. There's something. He's some sort of undead creature. But so yeah. So this is what we'll. I have, like I said, I got Heroic Tales 2, Eddie is Doomed, and then I've been doing the research and I started the script for I'm being purposely vague about this, but for a mythological, it's going to marry a real historical figure and a mythological figure, and talk about the lesser known stories of both of them. I'm really excited about this. Again, I'm being vague on purpose. I was talking to Renzo about doing that. So these are the projects I got. I got Eddie is Doomed, Heroic Tales 2. Maybe this Patriarch Wine thing, if I could work it out. I'm probably gonna write the script and make that comic anyway, and then like include it in the comic book if I don't do the wine thing. But I don't know. I'm trying to do different stuff to get attention.
Exactly what I'm trying to do. I have 2 ideas in my head that I would like to do this year, but I don't know if they'll get done this year. One is a backstory, which might be going out in I think like a web comic, like a webtoon, and the other one is is a Typhoid Mary type character that I want to do a floppy of.
Oh, cool. Do you have a name for the character?
Drama.
Drama?
Yep.
Okay, cool. That's cool. That's a cool character. Cool name. I love I love the name of a superhero character. To me, that I talk about this all the time. It's the focus. And it's funny because sometimes I get emails from people like, do you think this is a good name for a character? Like, oh, that's a great name for a character. And then they'll describe it. I'm like, it's not a good name for that character. But it's a great name for a character. This is what they should do, you know. And then, oh yeah, I never thought of it that way. Or, oh, thank you, you crazy person. I'm not talking. But there you go, everybody. Hour and a half. I got to go to bed. I got to go to work in the freezing cold tomorrow. It's unbearable. Why can't I win the lottery? But thanks a lot. It's got to be cold up by you. Jeez, I just realized you're up in the.
Literally, John, we've been warmer than you this entire winter. Like this is the first snow I've seen in the last week, last 4 days. First snow I've seen, honestly.
What is like the daytime temperature in Fahrenheit?
Daytime temperature is about 31.
Yeah, you are warm. It's 22 during like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's 22 right here in New York. It's unbearable. And I work outside. I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just saying that's why I'm grouchy. And that's why I'm wearing this. I come home and take a hot shower. I put this big, Santa Claus thing on. And I just want to roast. I have Arctic socks on now because, I just got like pergo flooring over cement floor. So I just want my feet warm.
No logic. I'm just right across the border.
Oh yeah. I know what RJ is, but it's not my information to share. He's someplace called the something facility for the criminally insane. I forget exactly. Right next to the Unabomber. They speak to each other through the walls. I am the darkness. No, I am the light. You are the darkness. No, I am the darkness. You are the light.
I was always told it's okay if you hear voices as long as you don't answer them back.
Or I started answering them back. Now I'm going to say if you answer them back, but not in different voices. That's how far gone I am. Yes, okay, I will do. That's when you got problems, when you have different. Yes, I will obey. Now you got me. When I was in high school, I worked with this kid, and I'm not joking. He looked like Steve Ditko drew Dr. Octopus. This guy looked exactly like that. He had that weird haircut, the glasses, and he used to just walk around going, and he was a good worker. He came to work. He would go and pump the gas. I was doing the cash register. He would go out and do the full service stuff like that. But he was just off. So one day we didn't have any customers, and he's just going, John, I need to ask you a question. I'm like, yeah, sure. Well, what? You could see he was just all stressed, and he would go like this. He would rub his face. He's like, do you still live with your mother? I'm like, I'm 16 years old. Of course I still live with my mother. He's like, does she make you do things? Now I'm like, oh, my stomach starts hurting. Oh no. And I'm like, I gotta ask. I have to ask. There's no way I'm not. What does your mother make you do? He goes, she makes me do things I don't want to do all the time. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta ask, but I don't want to know. I'm like, Eric, what does your mother make you do? She makes me make my bed. I'm like, what? She makes me make my bed. She makes me do my laundry and fold my. I'm like, get outside, you freak. You almost gave me a heart attack at 16. Don't worry, when Canada becomes a 51st state, you'll get better heat and mail. No, he won't. They got to find them first. I have family in Toronto, Scarborough, and Pickering. I like Toronto. Do you ever go to Toronto?
I don't like Toronto. It's just too sprawly big.
That's funny. Toronto's too big. I go to Toronto. I'm like, look at this cute little city trying to be a city.
No, I mean it's like half of New York State long. I mean, you're driving for 4 hours to get through the stupid thing.
It's funny because I didn't. You're absolutely right. There's a over by like the college area. There's a place called Snakes and Lattes. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a board game cafe. And I was like, I want to go there. So my wife, we went to Toronto. She's visiting her brother, and I went to Snakes and Lattes. I took the train. I took the bus there. I'm like, I'm going to walk back. We stayed by the Toronto Center, kind of by the what's the name of the comic book store? The Silver Snail, I think it's called. It took me like 6 hours to walk. I did not realize how big Toronto was, you know. And I had like nice people come up. Hey, excuse me, sir, can I get some money, please? And I'm like, no. They're like, okay, that's fine. I'm like, wow, even the beggars are nice in Canada. Yeah, but there you go. I don't know what else to say. I talked way too much, but this is fun. I enjoy talking to you.
Yeah,
RJ.
it was fun, John.
Yeah. Happy New Year, and I hope all our projects are successful. And again, if you don't have to be a guy pushing a comic, if you're just a comic fan and you want to talk about comics, RJ is the only one who doesn't have to show his face. We kind of don't want to see it. I love it. You know, I don't know. I have an image in my mind, and if you don't match up to the image, I'm gonna go berserk. So, you know, one day you'll tap me on the shoulder. I'm RJ. And I'm like, no, you're not. Watch, you look like Tom Selleck or something like that.
All right. All right. See ya.
I'm babbling. See you, everybody. Bye bye.